fruit leather is a great way to deal with excess ripe fruit. And as Mum said in the video that I filmed on her garden last week, fruit trees tend to ripen all at once. You don't have much control over it, they just ripen up and you're left with a whole tree of ripe fruit that you have to deal with quickly, or otherwise it will fall to the ground and it will be wasted. So she deals with it in a number of ways. She makes preserves, chutneys, jams, freezes it, bottles it, turns it into baking, things like that. But she also makes fruit leather. And fruit leather I think is just particularly wonderful because you don't need perfect fruits and vegetables to make fruit leather. You can use things that are overripe, that have got imperfections. You just cut out the rot or the bird pecks, take the good bits and put them in a blender and puree them up and turn them into fruit leather. And that's really great because it's really sustainable and it means you're not wasting anything. You're not wasting any of your homegrown fresh produce if you've made it yourself, or if you've bought it, you're not wasting any of the money that you've spent and the resources that have gone into that as well. So it's just a really awesome option. It's also really tasty and easy to make, and you can sneak vegetables in there and it's great for kids. And if you don't have a garden and you're just purchasing the produce when it's in season, it's really cheap and you can't eat it all quickly enough. It means that you can turn it into fruit leather and continue enjoying those nutrients into the off season. And I know with winter it's quite hard a lot of the time to get fruits and vegetables that are affordable to continue enjoying those nutrients. So fruit leather is a really great way to do that. So the fruit leather recipes that I'm making today are just using things that are in the garden at the moment that need to be used, and also kiwi fruit, which are really cheap to buy at the moment, and I needed to use them up into fruit leather. So I'm making a spinach and kiwi fruit leather, an apple and blackberry fruit leather, and peach and vanilla cinnamon fruit leather. And you can basically use any fruit and veggie combination and just puree them up like that, and it's really easy to do. So to start with, I'm making the apple blackberry fruit leather. We've got a whole heap of apples in the garden at the moment. They're starting to fall off the trees, and we've also got lots of blackberries, and I'm adding along with that some dates to help sweeten it and some chia seed just to add to the texture and the nutritional value. So I'm using about 3 cups worth of apples chopped. So I'm just chopping them up, quartering them and taking out the cores. And then I'm putting them in a blender along with a small handful of dates or some maple syrup if you want to, just to sweeten it, a half a cup of blackberries, and then about a tablespoon of chia seeds. I'm blending that up, and you can add a little bit of water if you need to make it a little bit runnier. And then I'm preparing some of my trays from the dehydrator. So we've got a dehydrator here that is great for making fruit leather, but if you don't have one, it's easy enough to use the oven. You just want to put it on a low setting, like 40 degrees Celsius, whatever's the lowest, and then just get an oven tray, put some waxed paper on there, put a little bit of oil over top of it, and pour your puree on that and spread it out to about 1 centimetre thick, and then put it in the oven for about 6 to 8 hours until it's completely dried out. And it's the same with the dehydrator, except it takes longer to dry, but when it's dried out it will have changed consistency a bit. It becomes a bit more translucent, doesn't have the sheen to it, and it's not so sticky to touch, and then it's ready. So with the dehydrated tray, I'm pouring a little bit of grapeseed oil on there, and that's just a really great oil because it doesn't have much flavour to it and it's really runny. And so I'm spreading that out, and then I'm pouring about half my puree on there and spreading it out with a spatula until it's about 1 centimetre thick. And once that's nice and spread out, I'm putting it onto my dehydrator. And then I'm getting another tray and doing the same because this mixture makes 2 trays. Next I'm making a peach fruit leather, and this was desperately in need because we've got so many peaches at the moment. I'm using peaches, vanilla extract, chia seed and cinnamon. So I'm using about 3 cups of chopped peaches. I'm just chopping out the bad bits and putting them in the blender. I'm adding into that about a tablespoon of chia seed, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. And just blend that up, and then prepare a dehydrated tray as I did before with a little bit of grapeseed oil. Pour half the mixture on, spread it out, and do the same with another tray and put them in the dehydrator. Lastly, I'm making a kiwi fruit spinach fruit leather. For that I'm using some kiwi fruit, spinach and maple syrup. So I'm chopping the ends off my kiwi fruit and the skin off as well. You could leave the skin on if it's organic, but these ones aren't. So I'm chopping the skin off, and I want about 3 cups of chopped kiwi fruit and a couple of handfuls of spinach. Putting my kiwi fruit into the blender, my spinach and a tablespoon of maple syrup, and then I'm blending that up, and then preparing my tray, pouring my mixture on there, about half of it again, and spreading that out to make 2 trays of this kiwi fruit spinach fruit leather, putting that on the dehydrator, and then I'm putting the top on. I turn on the dehydrator and it will need to go for at least a couple of days to fully dry out the fruit leather. And then you just want to take the trays out, chop them up into pieces. You can roll them up or just store them as they are between pieces of parchment paper. Put them in an airtight container and they will store like that for at least a month. If you want them to last longer, you can cook the puree first, and this will just mean you're killing the bacteria and enzymes, and it means that it will have a longer shelf life, but it also destroys some of the nutrients as well. Or otherwise you can freeze the fruit leather, and that way it will last for at least a year in the freezer. But it's just such an easy way to use fruits and vegetables. You can use any fruits, any vegetables, spices, additional sweeteners. It's just so easy to do, and it's a great way to waste less food. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.